All right, okay, so we're on. So, lads, today we're going to talk about team chemistry and the power of team bonding. So, team chemistry is one of the most complicated keys to success of any team or any organization. Effective teams are more than just a collection of talented players. To be effective, a team has to be able to combine the efforts and the abilities of all its members in the right way. Okay, remember that we're all individual, we're all little individual snowflakes. So the chemistry is how we all connect, how we all interact, how we communicate, and that essentially is going to drive how we bond, and how we bond is going to drive our culture and so forth. When building a team and an organization, we must shape our culture before it shapes us. Whether we know it or not, whether we accept it or not, a culture is forming all the time. The key is to identify what you want your culture and your organization to stand for. This can be applicable to sports teams, to organizations, to businesses. It's all the same thing. It's all about human connections, human psychology, and how we interact with each other. So why do we even look at this? Well, a connected team will always trump a talented team. And connection and a connected team means that they trust each other, that there's real true meaning to their relationships, that they value teamwork, that their connections are good and strong, that there's empathy and understanding among each other. I think that's really, really important. Like, take, for example, this time of the year, most GA teams are going through pre-season at the same time that most farmers are going through their busiest time and their busiest period. And I think that when other members have an understanding and a level of empathy towards the farmers, and that they're willing to step back and say, look, lads, maybe you need some time off and we'll lead the thing and we'll kick on here a small bit. That's just the power of understanding and being aware of each other. So again, I have this little picture here, very proud moment for me, All-Ireland final in Croke Park, and it's a circle. We finished a little warm-up on the field in a circle, because a circle symbolizes trust. A circle means trust, everyone is safe, we can see each other. And that is unity, and unity is the difference between a great team and an average team. United teams are connected and committed to each other. They are selfless instead of selfish. They put the team first, and they know that together they will accomplish more. And I've written in brackets underneath here, one man won't make a team, but one man can break a team. So it's really important that when we are trying to create these connections, and we are trying to create this culture and this bonding, that we get buy-in from every member of the group or every member of the team, because one can break the whole thing. So when we look at this, and this can be applied to a business organization just as well as a team, but this is essentially what most teams look at when they're trying to design a yearly plan or a 4-year plan or a long-term development plan. The end goal being the sport in itself. That's what most players love to do. They love to play the sport. That's why they train. That's why they eat well. For most lads really are connected to doing whatever they can to be as healthy and as fit as they can, so they can perform and do what they love. Okay, so put an awful lot of time into building the skills of the game. We put a lot of time into S&C, put a lot of time into nutrition as coaches and management, is the point I'm trying to make here. We put a lot of time into injury prevention and prehab. Even intelligent players and coaches and management will look at lifestyle, wellness, sleep, and even more intelligent coaches and players will look at keeping the life and the home life as harmonious as possible. But how much time do we put into chemistry and bonding all these individual players? Because remember, like, a team and a group of players, they're all going to come in with different experiences, different life experiences, different expectations, different limiting beliefs, different ideas about how the world should work. We have all been conditioned differently to a point. So how do we bring that whole team together? How do we bring the bond and build the connections together? And are we even thinking about these things? And you have to have a plan to build chemistry. It won't, well, I won't say it won't, sometimes it will organically happen in a positive way, but 90% of the time or 95% of the time, it won't. Or you can build momentum throughout the year, and you can get a good break and things can just fall into place, absolutely. But it's not going to be sustainable without a plan. And the real elite organizations and teams have all had really strong plans and a really defined blueprint on how they're going to build team chemistry. So how do we do it? They're built and developed through great communication, shared experiences, positive interactions, common challenges, and vulnerable storytelling that connect people at a deeper level. So again, at the start, I said that you're building your culture whether you know it or not. And I guess like a lot of time, this team bonding and this team chemistry, a lot of teams would go away on a bonding night, go on the piss, drink some pints, have a laugh, wake up the following morning and just go back to training on the Tuesday night. And I think that if you're trying to create a culture and if you're trying to create something deeper than just having a few pints, and if that's not something you value, then you shouldn't do it. And I think that, in my opinion, your culture is going to dictate how far you go and how sustainable it's going to be. And as a coach and as a management, it always starts with you as a manager. And you have to set the temperature. You have to set the tone. You have to set the example. You have to be the example all the time. And if we're talking about wellness and lifestyle and making good lifestyle decisions and not to sabotage our career through poor lifestyle decisions, then that shouldn't be part of the equation. And being on the piss, that shouldn't, hiring a boss, that shouldn't be on the equation. That shouldn't be part of what you're about. I think that, having a drink, yeah, absolutely, it has a place. But, if you're a group of 25 fellas and you're representing your group, you're representing your club, you're representing your organization, then I think you can do it in a far more positive way and you can build connections in a far deeper level than just that. So these are more common ones, like training camps is one very common one. Spending time overnight and living with each other is probably the biggest benefit from this. Most lads won't do that. You'll see, I've seen this, that if fellas are in college and they're living together and they come back into the group environment, then they tend to be very pally with each other. And that's because they're building bigger, deeper connections and bonds because they're sharing the same house in college and they're going to the same college. And you can see that very evidently with most teams. So I think a good challenge and a good strategy is to try to bring the whole group as much as you can on overnight trips and try to get them having that experience of eating breakfast together, eating lunch together, saying goodnight to each other, and just spending longer time in each other's company. Gratitude and appreciation days. This is something that I implemented last year. Very simple to do. So essentially what we done was we got all the players to cook a meal for the people who supported them throughout the year and throughout the season. So whether it be girlfriends, wives, mothers, partners, brothers, whatever it is, the goal here was that management stepped back, coaching staff stepped back, and the onus was on the players to organize it. You can see the picture to the left. There was the final touches being put on the presentation on the last table. They organized all that, and the picture on the right, you can actually see the players actually serving the food. They cooked the food, they prepared the food, they bought the food, so they invested financially and they invested their time into the day as well. And it was, again, they shared the experience of organizing the whole thing together, cooking food together, spending time together. And the secondary benefit, maybe the primary benefit, but another massive benefit was the fact that they got to show appreciation to the people who supported them all year. And remember, better people make better players and they make better teams. Collective energy, how we lay out our sessions. Coach always sets the energy. This is achieved through design. It doesn't happen by mistake. So you can see this was a gym session we done, pairing the guys into groups of 3s and 4s, where you have the second player encouraging, counting reps, you have the third player on recovery, and you're just creating collective energy. Everyone is tight. Plates are stacked pretty close, so fellas can pop plates on and off, so they're not running to the other side of the room. And you're just creating you're just creating a better bond. You're creating collective energy. When you can get fellas getting more excited for someone else's reps than they are for their own reps, then you're in a really powerful place. Changing environment. Movement creates movement. This is another big one. These are just some pictures from Mike's gym from our trip we done in November. So you can see the picture on the right. That was after we completed the course. Fellas are pumped after fucking spending 3 good days together. You had lads who had come together from, the one gym, but different jobs, different home lives, some parents, some fathers, some husbands, some single people, some people with no responsibilities in terms of, kids, some people with massive responsibilities, some people with mortgages, bigger financial responsibilities, and everyone left that at home. Everyone left it at home, and it was about 3 or 4 days of training, eating, sleeping, and spending time together, and it was massive. You can talk to any of the lads who came back from that trip. It was just a massive shift in how we look at each other, and we definitely bonded and became a stronger group. Picture to the left is, movement creates movement, trying different things. The chances of getting, 15 or whatever of us to try headstands at any one time outside of being in an environment like that was very slim. Like, we were tumbling, headstands, juggling, just loads of different activities, loads of different movement challenges. But we had the time to do it. The collective energy was there to do it. And the motivation was there to do it because of that. This is applicable as well. You don't have to go to Spain. Just movement creates movement. If you're involved with a team, just bring a team to Ballybunion on a Sunday morning, go for a swim, go for a run, bring them up the Ballyhowrah Mountains. All these change of environments are massive just for change of thinking and change of attitude and change of energy. Another one is just like meditation, Wim Hof, sunrises, different challenges. I could have put these individually in, but I didn't. I put them into the one slide. Picture on the left here is we got up in the morning, done some Wim Hof, looked at the sunrise. Again, different energy. Fellas were buzzed after it. It was something that a group of fellas will never do or never share, or a group of people will never really get a chance. When you go back to your everyday life, you're working your 9 to 5, you're dealing with your kids, you're managing your finances, you're managing your work, whatever it is, the chances are that you don't get up for a sunrise every morning, or you don't get to Wim Hof every morning, and you certainly don't get to do it with your friends. So that definitely creates a different type of a bond and builds deeper connections, because you're sharing a life experience that you won't have a chance to do with anyone again, or definitely won't be doing every day anyway. Picture to the right, Carrauntoohil, again, phenomenal experience to climb that on the day. I don't know how many people we brought up there. I think we were even missing some people off the picture there. But that's something that everyone will take to the grave. I still meet some of the people that even, have moved out of the country now, and every time I meet them, we speak about the day we climbed Carrauntoohil and the day we juggled, and we'll bring that to our graves. That's an experience that we share together, and it's a bond that you will always create with those people, and you'll always have. So back to teams. I think that if you're going to value teamwork, which is obviously something in my coaching philosophy, it's teamwork underpins everything. Values and teamwork underpin everything. But if you're going to value teamwork, then you have to put that across to the people you're training or the people you're working with or whatever it is. This is a little thing that I done called Ultimate Teammate. This isn't mine. I saw this on a TED Talk. I think Mull actually saw it on a TED Talk and shared it with me. So I'm going to share it with you. So what you do is you have your team of 25 players or whatever it is, and you give them all a sheet, and they pick their ultimate teammate. Now you can go 1, 2, 3 and pick 3 in numbered sequence. You're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3, or you can do it as just a single person. But what you do is you emphasize to the lads or to the team or to the girls or whoever you're coaching that it's not a popularity contest. It's not who the best player is. It's not about talent. It's a question of who is the best person to earn everyone's respect through how he or she lives their lives and conducts themselves in the community, the club, the gym, and off the field. And for each player, the goal is that multiple people say your name. You want to be known as the best teammate. And that means that you've earned the respect through actions. Every player should try to get their name on the sheet multiple times in the season. So it's something that you'll visit every 5 to 6 weeks. And again, you're catching people doing the right things. That's the key to this. And you reinforce this at every chance you can get. If teamwork is something that you value, if teamwork is something that you're trying to implement with your team, then what you want to do is you want to try to encourage selfless acts. And when someone does that, then you have the ability to point it out to the group and you say, look, this is what teamwork is about. This is what being selfless is about. And this is what looking beyond yourself is about, because when you're part of a team, you're part of something way bigger than just yourself. And you have that ability to share positive energy, because positive energy is contagious. And again, like as a team member, you not only control your effort, but you also get to control your attitude. One of the most powerful things you can do is be a great teammate and stay positive and share your positive energy with others. Like research shows that attitudes and emotions are contagious. And every day you either infuse your team with positive energy or you infect them with negative energy. And when you share that positive energy, you enhance the mood, the morale, and the performance of the team. So that's what we're looking to, that's what I've always been looking to develop with the groups that I've been working with. So here we have like some deeper ways of building connections among the group. This is something that I done with a group last year. If you knew me, you'd know that. So I pulled out a whiteboard, it was a flip chart actually, put the lads in a circle, I wrote on the flip chart, if you knew me, you'd know that. And each player had to finish the sentence in whatever way they wanted to. And at the start, it was kind of shallow enough. It was like, you know, if you knew me, you'd know that I'm very committed. And I stopped it after 2 people, and I actually shared something very deep about myself and one of my biggest vulnerabilities. And I got really deep, and I actually had one of the selectors planted as well, and I asked him to go second, and he shared something deep. And then after that, it was just a flood of real deep conversation. Lads, we learned so much about each other just through that one exercise. It went on for about 60 minutes, and it was so powerful. Throughout that time, there was grown men hugging each other. And what we realized was that every person in the room actually all had the same common challenges, the same common limitations and vulnerabilities. And once we knew that leaving the room, there was a stronger, deeper connected team. Sharing defining moments. I think when a leader and each team member share a defining moment in their life, you can learn things that you never knew before. Okay. Immediately you know your team members a whole lot better and feel a whole lot more connected to the team. So again, have each player simply stand up and share a defining moment in their life. It's amazing, and it's such a simple, powerful exercise. You know, I had a team where there was lads living in different areas. You could have 3 lads living in Dublin. Other lads didn't even know where they were living in Dublin. They didn't even know where these people lived. You know, not to mind sharing defining moments with each other in their lives. So I think that's really powerful, and it's a really simple tool. The safe seat, I recently read about this, okay? So the head coach of the Clemson University football team put a safe seat in the middle of the room and had each member sit on the seat and answer questions about his life. It's called a safe seat because what is shared in the room stayed in the room, and it makes it safe for each person to be vulnerable and transparent. I think this is the key, lads, to these. Like, we all have our vulnerabilities, and we all have this mask of ego, this mask of I have it all under control. But once we actually open up and share these things, we'll realize that we're an awful lot more alike than we actually think we are. Because you could have 25 on a team, and we're looking at each other thinking, you know, it's grand for this fella, he can do X, Y, or Z. But what we don't realize is maybe it's not grand for this fella. And maybe when he opens up and when he speaks on a deeper level, we realize that we have an awful lot more in connections than we actually think we have. So this is a good one. Hero highlight hardship. Again, this is one that Corey Close used, UCLA women's basketball coach. With this exercise, each person talks about one of their heroes, okay, and why they are their hero. When they share this positive highlight as well as a hardship from the past, it's a good way of sandwiching the emotions, okay? The second thing from this, and I only thought of this afterwards, speaking to Joseph Coyle a couple of weeks ago, he said that one of the coaches in China, what he would do is he would get each of the athletes to state or write down who their biggest inspiration was. Okay, and that's just like saying who your hero was. And what the coach would do is they'd find a phone number or an email address for that person. And what they do is they get that person to contact the athlete a couple of times a year just to tell them how well they were doing. And just to reinforce, when you hear something from your hero or someone that you really look up to or someone that has helped you an awful lot in the past, you just get that nudge of encouragement, then it's a good motivational tool to really help you push on. So for a lot of people, hero will be a parent or a family member. And with our community and with the people that we are interacting with, it's easy to get in contact with those people and just ask them to give them a leg up or a word of encouragement. Next one is the hard hat. This comes from John Gordon's book, The Hard Hat. So as a team, discuss and identify what characteristics of a great team, what characteristics of a great team member, what are the characteristics of a great team member? Sorry, that's a typo. So what does it mean to be a great team member? And get the team to actually discuss and identify that. And have all those characteristics written on the board or a wall. And have each person choose the one that resonates most with them. The key here is to catch people doing the things that reinforce the word that they have chosen. If the person chose honesty, then catch them doing honest actions and reinforce their desire to be a great team member. What you can also do with this is when you're meditating, when you're doing Wim Hof, get the person to think about the word and to think about what honest means in relation to the team and to visualize honest actions. And I think that that's a great psychological tool to use just through visualization and just to reinforce the whole exercise that you're trying to do. So the next one is one word. So have each member choose one word that will help them drive them to their best and bring out the best in others. You may choose a word such as connect, commit, serve, give, help, love, tough, relentless, excellence, and so on. Each person should choose a word that is right fit for them. Once you choose the word, you can make a poster, a sign, or an image that features the words of the team. Ask them to visualize the words and create mental images of the words and the actions that they evoke. So something tied on to the last one. Just having one word. This is something that's very common in American football. I forget off my head now what team used that, but they actually had their word printed onto their helmets, and their words were printed, like they had them on screensavers on their phone, and they had them on their S&C programmings. Their word was actually part of their middle name. So it would be like Adrian Committed O'Brien, you know what I mean, or Dara Honest Mulcahy, or whatever it is, but their word became associated with them, and it was something that they carried all year. And when you have that word, you will do anything you can not to lose it. It's like honesty. All we have is our word. And you know, if you speak about honesty and if you talk about honesty, and if that's something that you value, then you're going to value holding on to having it. And you know, once you lose it and people think that you're not an honest person, it's a very hard thing to try to win back. So leave a legacy. Have each team member create and share a legacy statement that includes the kind of impact that they want to have on their team. So how do you want to be remembered? What do you want to be remembered for? How do you want people to remember you afterwards? You know, again, knowing how you want to be remembered helps you decide how to live today. Again, it's about thinking into the future, but also thinking into the future starts by your actions on an everyday basis. What's good with a team is actually have that legacy statement and, you know, put it into a time capsule and bury it somewhere. And again, at the end of the year, this is a kind of a long-term strategy. If you're at the end of the year, pull it up and revisit it and write another one and bury it again and do that year on year on year. And it's something that will just reinforce what you're about and bring you back to your everyday actions. I think the last one in here is 20 questions. So make up a list of 20 questions. During each team building session, pair up with a different team member and ask or answer the question about each other. This will help you get to know your team members and become more connected. It's a great exercise for sports people to do, or sports teams to do when they're traveling, or if they're on a bus to a game or something like that. Again, like, there's so much that we don't know about each other as people and as players and so forth. And this just allows us to get to know each other and build deeper connections. So there you go, lads. Again, team chemistry, so important. It's so misunderstood. It's so underdeveloped, but yet it's so valuable. I hope you can take something from this, lads. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll be back next year or next week with next week's webinar. Cheers, lads.